What's up, everybody? Cassie and I have had an exciting past week or so. We went to Wabash to see Cassie's sister and her husband. We are gonna have a video, maybe a short video with that. We didn't get as much footage as we may have liked. So that's what's been going on. Today's video is how we made this picture. Some of you may have seen something like this before and wondered how somebody did it, or if you haven't, this is an idea for a picture. If you are running out of ideas, feeling uncreative, this is a great way to try something new. So basically it's just a picture of this lens right here, and it looks like it's floating, like I'm holding it up. It's a pretty cool effect, especially like if you're doing product photography. It's a really cool thing to make a different looking photo. For instance, a while back I did it with a hair product company, and it looks like the pomade's floating in midair. And it really, you want to emphasize that the attention should be on this one thing. And when it's floating, that really accentuates the attention toward one thing, because it's like that's the only thing in the picture that's floating. So how we did it, there's two ways you can do it. One, you can use like fishing wire and actually hang it midair and then put your hand under it. I don't really like that method because sometimes your hand doesn't look natural because you're just going like this under it. When you throw it up, your hand really is going with the motion of whatever the object is. When you use a string, sometimes the object doesn't look natural either, because let's say you can make it look however you want, but let's say I did it, it might just be sideways if I put the string in the middle, and then it's kind of boring. I wanted it to be more tilted, like it's just floating and suspenseful. If you know how to use your camera properly, it's a lot quicker and easier actually to just use your camera instead of taking the time to string it up, make sure it's perfect, you know, all that. So let's get into how we actually did it. As you can see in the photo, I'm the subject, so Cassie was the one taking the picture. So for manual settings, we were at 1/1000 shutter speed, and that's the most important thing, is you start with your shutter speed because it has to be fast. So set your shutter speed, set everything after that. We were at f2 aperture and 100 ISO. So f2 is really important to get that focus and isolate the subject that's in the shot. Obviously, shutter speed's even more important because the object is in motion and you're trying to capture it still. And then after that, ISO at 100. I mean, it shouldn't be any higher because it's daylight, it's bright out, and you're not gonna need any extra light. You just need to make sure that you have your focus points set to where you want them. The way she was shooting it is you follow the object with that focus point, snap it. It's kind of like you're shooting a car that's in motion or something. You want to track the object and get it while it's in motion. So you just put your focus point on the lens when it's in the hand, follow it up, and snap the picture. The fast shutter speed will make sure there's no motion blur to make it look like you're really holding it up in the air like that. If you have a lens that can really isolate it, the aperture can really isolate the subject with a blurred out background. So you might see in the photos paint on my hands. I was spray painting earlier, so there's some paint on my hands in some of the pictures, or if you see it in the video right here. Anyways, that process is pretty simple. It's just knowing how to do it. I'm sure there are some people who have seen pictures like that and they just really don't know how to come up with something like that. It's just knowing how to use your camera. Shutter speed can really capture some cool things if you slow it down, if you speed it up. And we will definitely have more things about shutter speed and cool things you can do with it in the future. So from the top, you just start with find an object that you want to float, get a fast shutter speed, preferred a low aperture to really isolate it in the focus. And then it might take a few tries, especially your first time. You're definitely gonna need 2 people, obviously, for this, because trying to do that with a timer, I've tried before. It ended up working at one point. If I can find the picture in the archives, I'll show you. I did it with a balloon pop, because you can capture, the balloon will go away and the water will stay. But also I was just experimenting with shutter speed, and you can see how the water is still. I'd set the timer, walk away, pop, it's out of focus, it's missed. An hour later, I had a couple pictures. I mean, you can try it if you really want. it'll suck. I would recommend 2 people for this. Shouldn't be too hard, but it's a pretty simple process as long as you know how it works, know what your shutter speed is, and how to do it. Let me know if you have any questions, and for now, get out of my face.